Man, listen, this inflation is nuts. And as Fat Joe famously said, yesterday's price is not, well, you may know the rest. But what if there was one piece of gear that could make you extra cash every weekend? Whether you're shooting a wedding, a birthday, or some headshots. From the title, you may know that I am referring to the humble flash head, also known as a speed light. And by the end of the video, my hope is that you'll know exactly, or at least be motivated to, use this piece of kit to boost your photography game and increase your bank account. Now, I'm excited for this video because it is the advice that I wish I had when I was starting out. And for my rangefinder users, I'll be discussing my findings using a flash with the M towards the end of the video. Something new to me, but hopefully it can help some of you. Now, some cameras come with a built-in flash like this Sony right here. And for this video, I'm referring to an external flash that you would insert into the hot shoe or connect. The built-in flash here is limited by its position and its height. For example, it can create some unwanted shadows when using a longer lens. It also gives you that direct on look that I'm not a fan of. I recommend an external flash because it sits higher on the camera and it allows you to bounce the light. You also have the added benefit of doing off-camera flash with the trigger. Let me know if you want me to do a video on off-camera flash. But listen, I've tried them all. From the cheap ones that drain batteries faster than a kid eats candy to the ones that can outlast a photo shoot marathon, but will cost you a Bitcoin. And since I respect your time, I'll reveal the flash that I recommend. On a budget or not, you can't go wrong with the Godox V1. Trust me, you'll thank me later when you're not changing batteries mid-shoot. It's reliable, it gets the job done. This is version 1, they have a version 2, and just this week they came out with a 100-watt second version. And now that you know which one to buy, stay for the insights and tips. Tip number 1, get a metal base plate. When you go buy your flash head, make sure that the bottom here, the base plate, is all metal. This will ensure that your flash can put up with the wear and tear, since the base is the part that is most prone to breaking or snapping. Tip number 2, don't throw away the cover that comes with your flash head. It will protect the delicate copper contacts when you toss this in your bag after a long night of shooting. Ask me how I know. I would show you my cover, but I've lost it. I didn't throw it away. I simply lost it. I'm kidding. It's right here. Silence is golden. These flash, they make an annoying beep just before you take the picture. And I would go into the menus and turn that off. Your clients will appreciate it and you'll come across that much more of a professional. Now, who should learn flash? Anyone really that is looking to not only up their game, but also earn some extra cash. I was late to the flash, to using a flash, but that was mostly an unfounded rebellion on my part. And I also didn't like that deer in headlights look, or rather I was only familiar with that deer in headlights look from flash. But I can tell you that with flash, position, right, and diffusion are everything. Now, what does a flash do for your work? Well, it will spotlight your subject and will give that subject some separation from the background. But the main thing to consider is that flash will give your work a clean, professional look. Again, when used properly. When you see a photo that uses flash, your brain realizes that some effort was put in to create that photo, which equals, when do you use a flash? Well, honestly, anytime. It allows you for more options because you are bringing the light with you instead of depending on external factors. Why? Well, look at it. It's portable, small, and powerful. Where? Anywhere, anytime, even in daylight. especially in places where power is not available. And if you're traveling and you can't bring your bigger lights, suffice to say that I try to carry a flash, some kind of flash with me, always, because you never know when you need a little fill light. Now, power output. Power output on flashes are measured in watt seconds, and they range from 60 to 100 watt seconds. This V1 is rated for about 76 watt seconds, and trust me, that is plenty power to get you started. I'll place the power readings down on the screen below here. They're in fractions, and 1 to 1 is full power. I usually start at 1/16 power, and I adjust as needed with an aperture of 5/6 to ensure for a decent depth of field, especially if you've got more than one person in the frame. Make sure to set your camera to the sync speed of the flash. Otherwise, you will end up with a black bar covering a portion of your image. That's because your flash didn't sync to the shutter. That leads me to the next question that you may have. How do you figure out your camera's sync speed? Well, first, install your flash. Make sure that it's fully and seated with the hot shoe. Once you've done that, turn on your camera, turn on your flash. Once your camera communicates with the flash, your camera will stop at the highest shutter speed that is allowed, your sync speed. You can go higher if your system supports high-speed sync, but that's a video for another day. On a rangefinder, you simply just place the shutter speed wheel on the Thunderbolt, which on this M is 1/180th of a second. Now, let's talk about the different modes that are on a flash. M stands for manual mode. This will give you full control. You'll be the master of your domain. TTL stands for through the lens. This allows the camera, in combination with the flash, to determine the light output of your flash. Multi-mode allows you to capture multiple instances of movements. Think of a hummingbird flapping its wings, but being able to capture the multiple positions of the wings all in one photo. Now, one thing that will set your work apart is mixing the flash with the ambient light in the room. For example, if a location has a warm vibe, you don't want to come in with your flash and completely whitewash that situation. Here's a scenario with warm tones, similar to a location you'd get hired to capture. The objective is to capture the vibe without killing the mood, and for that I would ride your shutter down. Normally, a lower shutter speed or too much of a low shutter speed will introduce motion blur, but thanks to the strobe effect of the flash, it freezes things in motion. This allows you to lower the shutter and introduce more of the background light into the room. Caveat, keep in mind not to go below the lens. Here's a photo with a minimum shutter speed of 1/160th, f-stop 2.8, ISO 400. Notice the picture, the ambience in the picture is washed out. I killed the mood, essentially. Now, since I'm on a 28mm, I'm going to stay above 28. I'm going to go down to 1/150th of a second. I captured a photo that is well lit, yet maintains the mood, the ambient, in that room. Obviously, your clients are going to want well-lit photos, but they're also going to want you to capture the way the room looked on their special day. As I've always said, practice makes the master. My first recommendation is for you to, once you buy your flash, grab a family member, place them in front of a house lamp or some Christmas lights. See if you can capture a photo with the mood in the room while exposing their faces by riding your shutter down. But remember, don't bring your shutter below your lens. I would also recommend you go out there and network. join a local photography group in your city or create one. This will allow you to connect with other creative photographers, models, what have you. And at this point, you will be mastering your lighting while also building relationships that can turn into paid gigs. Someone in your network will need a second shooter one day for a wedding or some gig. A model may need some new headshots, and you can be their go-to photographer. I've set up a quick little lighting situation here so that you can see what it was like to have flash and to not have flash. I'm gonna take a shot without the flash. So as you can see from the photo, Ava's face is completely not highlighted. I have Ava as my model. She's one of my students helping out with this, and I have the rest of the class behind me. But let me show you what it would look like if I actually turn on the flash. Now, before I turn it on, you have a couple of positions that you can do with the flash. The ones I want to focus on are behind you, where you would bounce the light off the wall, straight on, where you would bounce the light off the ceiling, and straight on to the person, where you would just blast the person with light. So let me show you what that looks like. From the photo, you can see that it's completely overexposed. I'm gonna leave my power at 1/16, and I'm gonna turn and rotate the head up to the ceiling and show you what that looks like now. The light will bounce and come down onto my subject, creating a pleasing soft light. As you can see, one is unsatisfying with no flash, while the other is the shot that will get you paid with flash. Before long, you'll be booked for birthday parties, special events, even weddings. Check out what local photographers are charging in your area and honestly ask yourself, does your work match? And if so, raise your prices to the industry standard in your market. The money is out there. You just need to connect with the people that need and value your camera skills and flash. You can be working every weekend, no exaggeration. I'm living proof of what I'm telling you. Here I am at a venue getting paid for my flash and camera skills. All right, I'm at the venue, and right now basically my setup is my solo strap with my Sony 24-70 and the Godox with the Mag Mod modifier on top. And this is basically what I'm rocking all night long. Put what I'm telling you into practice, and you'll be cashing out your flash in no time. Trust me, if you implement what I'm showing you, you will succeed, because 90% of people are lazy, and the rest, well, the rest are doom scrolling. So, just putting the gear away, packing everything up. But it was a successful night, a great ending to this video to show how flash photography is not only fulfilling creatively, but also financially. Now for my street photographers. The first person that comes to mind when I think of flash and street is Bruce Gilden. Again, I was not a fan, but recently I've started to come around to the idea of using flash for my street work. I mean, you can't argue with the world of opportunities that a flash opens up. I'm no stranger to flash on my paid work, but I never really thought of flash for my street photography because it was never a style I was interested in mastering. But what is progress if you don't acquire new skills, right? My friend Eric introduced me to a little flash that he had bought for his M11, and that's this one right here, and I really liked it. At first, I didn't use it much, but as the daylight started becoming shorter, I figured it was a good idea to kind of keep it in my back pocket. Fast forward to now, and I have, 3 different flash heads from my M11. Yes, the flash, you are more obvious and it requires some more cojones, right? But I'm starting to really like the look of flash, especially at night. The first time I used it was at the presidential debate here in Philly. By the way, check out that episode linked below and up on the cards. But it's a bit expensive, but the flash really kept me going when the sun came down that night. While at the debate, I met Dan, and he had the Godox Jr., the Godox Lux Jr. on his M10, which I thought was nice because It was more low profile, and the only thing I don't like about it is that you can't bounce light with this. You know, it was cheap, so I figured I'd give it a shot. I recently used it on Thanksgiving night with my family, and they really liked the photos, and I had a lot of fun using it. So I'll be doing that again tomorrow night for Christmas Eve. I don't know about you, but during the cold months, my street photos really suffered because I don't go out much, but I will admit that adding flash has me excited to do some street photography in any condition. I just need to remember to bring it out every single time. The other night I went out with my dog and instinctually I grabbed my camera. On the way back we came across Santa and I grabbed a few frames, but I forgot to bring my flash. And had I been accustomed to carrying my flash, these photos would have been way better. Now, in closing, this right here, this piece of kit is your ticket to steady photography income. I hope this video demystifies flash heads enough for you to go down the rabbit hole. And if you found the video interesting or remotely entertaining, please give it a like and consider possibly subscribing. But until my next video, let's keep creating, and happy holidays.